today's episode of Hero Syndrome, we're talking about reboots, not the Cartoon Network show. Welcome, allies. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Hero Syndrome. We are here today talking about reboots. Why, do you ask? A little too much negativity about Resident Evil 7 out there, so we're here to kind of clean up, pick up the pieces. Reboots. Say that right now out loud. Reboots. Fun word to say. Dangerous thing to do in a franchise. High stakes risk. Reboots. Love a good reboot. Hate a bad one. Let's talk about Doom and Wolfenstein first. Recently released Doom and kind of recently released Wolfenstein, honoring the tradition of the franchise in the best possible way. This is exactly the kind of reboot we needed this year, especially with Doom. You know, going back and playing the original Dooms, it feels so much like those. I know a lot of people that hate Doom 3 and, you know, look at this Doom and there's all this comparing going on. And playing the originals, you know, they're a lot slower than I remembered. Every time I see Doom online, it's some crazy developer playing it or some super professional speedrunning his way through the game. But just booting up Doom, you know, 1 and 2, it's a little slower than I thought. And I think the reboot in 2016 nails the pace, the tone, and the vibe flawlessly. And same with Wolfenstein. They made me care about Blazkowicz, and they gave the game an emotional weight, and they made me invested in the world and characters while also keeping that Wolfenstein theme, killing Nazis. Next up, always a point of contention, always a divisive topic. I've brought it up here many a time. DMC, Devil May Cry from Ninja Theory. A radical departure for Dante that a lot of original Devil May Cry fans just were not having before this game even came out. It was already controversial, the way he was represented, which is unfortunate because the game still honors the legacy with Dante and Virgil and their origins and the combat system itself. Nothing gets my juices flowing than when I hear that announcer yell, "Savage!" It is just has so much energy to it. The soundtrack, some of those boss fights, like in the techno dance hall, that game just has a rhythm and a feel that gets me pumped up like not a lot of action games do. And you know, the original had some problems. It wasn't 60 frames per second. The definitive edition rectified that and made the skill and ranking system a little harder. It was easier in the beginning to kind of manipulate your way to max rank, and they made it harder. So as time went on, that game got better, but it was such a visual departure from the original series that to this day, you know, hated game. Next up, again, the lines are blurred when it comes to reboots because are you continuing the plot but rebooting? Are you starting from scratch? This one continues the plot but goes back to the roots. Hitman. Wow, am I just eating my humble pie right now? With Hitman. Story time, quick little story time. I can remember being in EB Games when they had those big, massive PC boxes. Hitman on the cover with a sniper rifle. My brother, you know, I'm like 10 at the time, too young to be playing these games. My brother's like, yo, this one looks cool. So we got it. The rest is history. Been following Hitman ever since. You know, when this game got announced as episodic, I was scared. I said, wow, they're just gonna release some unfinished game and I'm supposed to replay the levels a bunch of times? Like, no, I just wanna go through the story as Agent 47 and that's that. But after coming off Absolution, you know, the closer we got to Hitman, I was more open to it because Absolution to me is the low point of the franchise and Blood Money is the high point. And those games are back to back. And they kept saying, you know, in development, yeah, we're going back to the roots, we're going back to Blood Money. You're gonna be replaying the levels, but you can go about it different ways. I said, yeah, sure, whatever. And what we got is a unique Hitman game. It's completely changed it up by releasing episodically. We're playing one episode at a time and really just digging in and massaging it. And it's kind of like a TV show, waiting for the new episodes to come out. I'm just constantly thinking about the one I'm on, and then when they tease the next one, I'm kind of thinking about that. Oh, where could this story go? There's a conversation to this game that has been added because of the structure, and that's almost more fun than the game itself. They took a risk and it paid off. So next up, it's not out yet, but Resident Evil 7. Whew! Internet is talking about this one, everyone. Everyone's talking. Resident Evil 7, first person, Outlast, walking simulator, whatever you want to call it. And I am so excited for this game. A lot of people are not, but this franchise, decades later, is still relevant. And why is it still relevant? Because it has taken risks like Hitman did, and Doom did, and even DMC did. Will it pay off? Time will tell. But what is there, the foundation that has been laid with going back to the horror roots, has me so excited, especially coming off Resident Evil 6, which I don't particularly care for. And it's the best of both worlds as a fan of the story because they're keeping that in play. You know, they could have easily said, we're gonna just start completely over, but they didn't. They're honoring the legacy by taking that 20 years of lore and continuing it. It's Resident Evil 7. This is a continuation. Sure, it's a reboot in style and gameplay, but everything we love is still there. We got green herbs they already revealed. And you know, in the demo, beginning hour, there's a little umbrella tease. Who knows what's gonna happen in this game? And of course, you know, I know change is scary. We like the familiar, we like our Resident Evils, but they rebooted it with 4, you know, coming off Code Veronica and Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, 0. 4 was a radical departure for this franchise. It went from fixed camera, survival horror, to third-person action game, essentially, and then 5 added co-op, and 6 is more of a continuation of that. So I'm ready for a refresh. I'm excited and nervous at the same time, but it won't be as bad as 6. Because you know what happens when you don't take chances and you don't take risks? Assassin's Creed. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Assassin's Creed, pumping out the same game every year, Assassin's Creed, and every time we get it, it's familiar, it's cozy. I love playing Assassin's Creed. I love climbing those towers, doing the eagle vision, diving off, eavesdropping from a bench, listening to someone, assassinating a target. Same thing every time. It has almost been 10 years of Assassin's Creed games. We've gotten one basically every year, sometimes 2 in 1 year, and there have been minor updates to the formula. You know, we're adding the ships, we're adding the towns, we're adding a couple soldiers that you can call in to assassinate other people, we're adding 2 playable characters, but fundamentally it's the same game every time. And what if that's how the industry was? Doesn't that scare you more than change? Never changing? Franchises that would remain the same forever. Never getting anything different, never taking risks, never taking chances. That is a world I do not want to live in. That's it for the episode on reboots. Let me know your thoughts on your favorite, your least favorite, and what you think about Resident Evil 7, which is dangerously close on the horizon. We are easy allies. You can follow us on Patreon, YouTube, Twitch, and don't forget to continue this conversation 11 a.m. on Saturday, Talking Syndrome, where we discuss live everything about reboots. See you then.
It's time for the syndrome.
The dust has settled, I know, we're a little late on this, but Deus Ex, Human Revolution, legendary reboot, followed up by Mankind Divided. Give it a shot if you haven't, you won't be disappointed. And watch our retrospective Deus Ex on easyallies.com. Parts 1 and 2, we put a lot of work into it, and it's good stuff.